What's good, Ravens fans? It's your boy JG. Welcome back to Ravens Space, and today I want to talk to you guys about something that the Eagles do that we as the Ravens can learn from. As many of you guys know, Jalen Hurts has been injured for the Eagles, and this revealed something to me that I thought was extremely interesting and wanted to talk to you guys about, because I know you guys, the Ravens fans, have noticed it as well. Going into the season, many people thought Jalen Hurts was basically a cheaper version of Lamar Jackson, and I agree. He's not as good as Lamar Jackson is, not as good at throwing the football or running the football. However, the Eagles have done something that the Ravens refuse to do, and that is support Jalen Hurts with offensive weapons that have proven to make plays outside of help from the quarterback. And so there's been 2 games since Jalen Hurts has been out. Now, Lamar Jackson has been out for 4 games now, but I'm going to talk about the 2 games that Jalen Hurts has been out, and I want to compare those different numbers so you can see what I'm talking about. The first game, the Eagles played the Cowboys. The Cowboys is a top 5 defense in the league, and they scored 34 points. Ravens fans would stab somebody if we could score 34 points without Lamar Jackson. Minshew, who is on the same level as Tyler Huntley from a skill perspective, in my opinion, had 355 yards and 2 touchdowns. His receivers had 113 yards and 103 yards, and those are just his top 2 receivers. His tight end had 67 yards. He had another running back that had 41 yards. The Ravens would love these numbers. This is what we're talking about surrounding your player, your top guy, with help, because when things go bad, your team is still good enough to stay afloat. Currently, with the loss to the Steelers, the Ravens are 500 without Lamar Jackson in, against teams that do not have a winning record. This is something that is unacceptable for an organization that prides themselves on being one of the best organizations in football. On the Ravens' current roster, it seems to only be one player who is good without Lamar Jackson, and that is J.K. Dobbins. Shout out to J.K. Now, I know you guys are thinking, Jason, yes, they scored 34 points against the Cowboys, impressive, but the next week they put a stinker up. That is true. They only scored 10 points the next week with the Ravens' average score, without Lamar Jackson. But if you go into the stats, there are also things there that will make you very upset. Minshew in the game had 274 yards, more yards than any Ravens quarterback has had other than Lamar Jackson in the past 4 years. It 1 touchdown, and then on top of that, his receivers again had 115 yards and 97 yards. This is without a top-rated running game. They're doing all this great stuff. Now, the defense for the Eagles is better, in my opinion, than the Ravens, so I don't want to even get into that because they are providing additional help. But I'm focused on the offense because the offense for the Ravens is the problem. The defense is good enough. The defense has been letting up 1 touchdown or less for the past couple of games. This is supposed to be a winning formula, and the reason that it is not is solely because of the offense and the people who have let us down. So the question I'm going to answer is why? Why is this happening? It's so simple. The Ravens have done a terrible job of surrounding Lamar Jackson with talent, and this has been an issue for a long time. I personally think the Ravens have done a good job of surrounding Lamar Jackson with 2 good running backs. I won't say great, but 2 good running backs. A tight end that is great, and an offensive line that is consistently getting better and better as they get healthier and healthier. However, there's a big glaring hole, and in today's NFL, the answer is wide receiver. Every single quarterback who is great has a wide receiver who has helped them become that way. It doesn't matter who, and we need to do that and get better if we're serious about taking that next step and becoming one of the teams that compete for Super Bowls every year. We, the Ravens fans, feel that way, that we should be competing for Super Bowls every year, but I cannot tell that the front office is committed to doing that. We cannot beat Patrick Mahomes running the ball. We cannot beat Josh Allen running the ball. Unless Lamar Jackson has a great game, we don't have a chance, simply because they're going to outscore us, because even a great defense in today's game has so many negatives against them when they're trying to guard some of the best quarterbacks and receivers in the league. Pass interference calls, all the defensive targeting calls, all these different things that make the offensive job much easier than the defense's job. And because of this, that is a problem that we're going to continue to have, where teams, though we might put a bottle cap on them in the first 3 quarters, sooner or later the dam is going to break and they're going to be able to score that touchdown. If we can do that, especially without Lamar Jackson, then we don't have a chance to win those games. And it's actually hurting the Ravens as a whole, because it's making us one-dimensional, and every team knows what the Ravens are going to do. Again, this is how you build great teams. You got to use every avenue to get better. Every team that we think are the great teams in the league, they do this. For example, the Chiefs, they draft great players, they go on free agency and they get some great players, and they also trade for great players. The Ravens only trade for great defensive players, and the defense is not the problem. The problem is, 1, the offense is not great at play calling, and 2, that when we do call those plays up, we don't have the receiver talent there. This has happened with other quarterbacks in the league too. When we look at other quarterbacks and what happens when they go down, they're much better than what the Ravens do when Lamar Jackson goes down. Let's just take the Raiders, for example. The Raiders are a team that literally sat their quarterback down and they were able to score 30 points. This is unbelievable, right? Baker Mayfield was cut by 2 different teams and was able to go to the Rams and score some points, mainly because of the play calling, but also because of the talent they have tried to put around Baker defensively. These are some things that we have to get better at. There's plenty of examples of this, where a quarterback goes out, but the team is still able to score points. For some reason, when the Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson is out, we will be lucky to score 2 touchdowns in a game. How can this be? Let's look at the San Francisco 49ers. There's just so many examples of this, guys, where they're literally on their 3rd quarterback. They had the new guy who went down, forgot his name, who was drafted 3rd overall. Then they had Jimmy Garoppolo, he went down, and now they're on Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, literally the last pick in the NFL draft when he was drafted, and he's still able to put up points on the board, not because he's great, not because he's as good as Lamar Jackson, not because he's a dominant football player, but simply because of the talent around him. And this is going to be not great for us in the long run, because it makes it unattractive to play with. This is a quarterback league. This is a quarterback league, ladies and gentlemen, and there's no reason why a team like the San Francisco 49ers should have an advantage on a team like the Baltimore Ravens, because we have a quarterback. The issue, though, is that we have not chosen to surround him with the bevy of first-class talents that the Ravens could have. The Ravens could have had Christian McCaffrey. The Ravens could have had Deebo Samuels. You know, the Ravens could have had DeAndre Hopkins. These are people that were open for trades. However, we chose to protect the draft picks, and that's proving not to be enough in this modern era. So again, the Eagles have taught me that it is possible to go with a second-string quarterback and still win football games and still score a lot of points. He's shown the Ravens fans this. I've seen this. And the Ravens have to take a hint. They have to take a clue and decide they want to be great, and they want to be a team that, regardless of which players are in and out, at least have a chance to be competitive against some of the best teams in the league. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks. Remember, join our Discord. It's super cool. We also have a Patreon as well, but I'm more focused on the Discord because I want to talk to you guys. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe. Go Ravens.